of hands if you learned something new today. Oh my gosh. Okay, will someone please yell out one thing that they learned today? Humans vibrate frequencies, 60 to 69 different frequencies. Awesome. Megahertz, okay. What else? Base yoga was incredible. I was here for that, and I'm all about that because, gotta keep this turkey neck under control. All right, what else? You manifest in the quantum field. I have been practicing law of attraction for a few years now, and I can honestly tell you that what you think, feel, or believe becomes your reality. Okay? Remember that when you go home tonight. And remember that we are all connected. So whatever energy you're putting out there, you're affecting someone else, but you're also attracting that energy back into your life. Just be mindful. So before I introduce our next speaker and our final speaker for the night, I just want to thank you guys all for showing up, for being here, for investing in yourself. Like Michelle said earlier today, no one can take this away from you. This knowledge, this information, this is power. So thank you for showing up. And please tell your family and friends about this, because we need to elevate more people. The more people that know about this, the better we become as a whole. So, my name is Carla Amador. I run a movement called the 52 Hike Challenge. Check us out. Being outdoors in nature is an amazing way to start your mindfulness journey without it being so scary. But I'm going to introduce Katie and Jonathan. They are a cosmic couple, tantric coaches. They're here to share the tools and resources that attract and sustain an everlasting union. They offer coaching and courses to bring you into union with your cosmic counterpart. Their offer will bring an end to the separation and attract in the love, passion, and purpose you desire individually and as a united couple. So, help me welcome Katie and Jonathan.
You guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you for having us. It's a little different than the program. There's an addition to me now. And I want to actually start with a little meditative experience. And there will be a few of that throughout all this. I'm a big believer that we really don't know anything until we experience it. And ultimately, I'm here to reflect back to you whatever it is that you've been seeking, whether it's in union with another person or union in yourself or outside your life. And most importantly, it's union with your higher self right now, who we really are. And the only way to really know that is to experience it. So if you're comfortable, which I'm guessing you are, it'll be good to close the eyes or just have a light gaze and get really comfy. So if that means you need to get out of your chair and on the floor, it's totally welcome. You need to take off a few layers or put some on. Just give yourself a moment to get in your own energy and get really relaxed. So as you find yourself shifting into here and now, the eyes can be closed, or you'll have a light gaze on the ground. And we start by finding our breath in this moment without judgment. Just noticing the texture of your breath. Is it shallow or is it deep? Noticing if there is tension, if there is thoughts running through the mind. And without judgment, you just start to come into here and now by deepening that breath. So on your next breath in, maybe the belly expands out like a balloon, and the chest starts to open. And as you exhale, the shoulders release, the this rhythm, this undulation of breath in, start to notice the prana, the life force coming into your body, into every single cell. You're raising your own power. And as you exhale, maybe a sigh comes out. Maybe you need to shake the head, the jaw, the shoulders, allowing the body to get involved as you continue to follow your own rhythm. And as that breath continues to increase on those inhales, and as the tension leaves you as you exhale, you're coming back into your own body, into the heart. And if it feels comfortable, place the hands on the heart, connecting with your place of wisdom. Again, just noticing sensations. Is my heart tight? Is my heart open, flooding? How does my breath feel as it goes in and out of the heart without judgment? You can even feel the back of the heart opening, the shoulder blades separate. The ribs expand a little bit more. You start to pull up energy from Mother Earth, from the soles of your feet up through the legs, up through the hips, the belly, into the heart, filling up with nourishment, with love, with contentment, knowing that this is where you are meant to be, and all is well. As you continue just to feel into your heart, allowing it to open, you now feel energy coming through the crown, the very top of your head, from a source above you, whatever that source is to you. And with each breath, you feel this source, this light, this love coming down from all around you, through the crown of the head, the third eye, down the throat, pouring into your heart, filling you with love so unconditional, so perfect and whole, so true, that it dissolves any past hurts or wounds or judgments you've held against yourself. Maybe for a moment you feel how loved you truly are by the universe, by nature, by your loved ones, whatever speaks to you. Feel the love they have for you without any stories, because you've never done anything wrong. You're perfect and whole here and now. Nothing to change, nothing more to be. What does that love feel like? As you continue to breathe and connect with the heart, we're going to connect with your own inner wisdom. No one knows better than you what you need in this life. And this wisdom will come out easily and effortlessly as it's always available, just through awareness. So as you feel and connect deeply with your heart, recall a time where you did feel truly in love. This could be in love with a person. This could be in love with an activity, a movie, a book, a character, a song. Allow your heart to remind you what you truly love. Pick one thing. Maybe it's a memory. or a future dream. And as you connect with this love inside you, allow your higher self, who you really are without fear, to bring you into this time so deeply that you remember the feeling like it's happening right now. What does this love feel like? Maybe you're embracing that person, or you're carried away with that song. Feel the love that you give, and feel the love you receive. And allow it to expand and grow. Feel the sensation of it. What does your heart feel like in love? Can you feel it swelling? Can you feel it growing? What does it feel like to give love to another? Perhaps you can see the color of it as you send it out. And what does it feel like to receive this love? Do you know how to receive this love? Do you remember the feeling? Or maybe for the first time, open your heart to receive love. How do you want to be loved? Notice any tension and just allow the body to relax. Just open the heart a little bit more. Now come to one place in your life, staying with your heart, that maybe you feel there's a lack of love. Maybe there's frustration or disappointment. Maybe there's that loneliness, that void, like something's missing. And without judgment, allow your heart to show you this one place where you're ready for something more. Maybe it's relationship to another person. Maybe it's the lack of a person. Maybe it's that purpose, that business that is looking for the next level. Or those desires that haven't come into form yet. So whatever it is, embrace it all the way. What is your heart missing right now? What does it want more of? Allow the feelings, pictures, and thoughts, this one desire to come through so clearly. And commit to your own heart right now that you will honor this desire. That what you seek is seeking you, and you are willing and ready to now have it be revealed. And trusting that whatever has kept it locked is only a doorway into it. Just for a moment longer, breathing in, out, nice and big. Keeping your heart nice and open. Allow your imagination to show you what would your life look like if this one desire, this void you feel, was filled. Without limitation. What would you see around you if this desire came into your life? Allow the imagination, your higher self, to show you. Who would you share this with? See them as they embrace this creation, this desire you've allowed in. What would you feel if you knew it was done, it was here. And feel that in your body, all the way. Maybe that has a color and allow that energy to rise up through every cell. Moving the body as if it was here, getting the body involved. As this increases your frequency, it allows you to bring it to life. Feel the relaxation, the relief, the joy of it now being here. What new thoughts would be present if this desire was in your life? How would you go about your day? Now that this void is filled, how would you share more of this with the world, this love that you now feel? Allowing any final images to come in without resistance, for if you can see it, if you can feel it, it is available to you. In the quantum field, in all fields, as we bring it down to this physical, real life, day-to-day reality, it will come to be your heart knows the way, and that's what we're going to find out. But for a moment longer, allow your higher self to show you any last visions or feelings of you being in complete fulfillment with this desire. And commit once more to your heart that you will allow it to come into full fruition. And when you're ready, take a few deep breaths. Coming back into the body, into the heart, soles of the feet, open up the chest. And slowly open your eyes. And if you do want to take a moment to record anything that came up for you, or just write a word or have a word in your mind's eye, I recommend it. For whatever did come up for you is perfect. And when we're willing to connect with who we really are, we are tapping into that future self. We're tapping into what's ready for us now, if we allow it. So thank you for joining me in that experience. Before we go forward, I know we haven't really introduced ourselves or anything yet, but any questions or comments about that experience? Was everyone able to connect with a higher part of himself or a vision? Was anyone not able to? Thank you.
Thanks.
I'm sure if I was able to, I know I connected with my heart,
Mhm.
but everyone is not familiar with connecting with my higher self.
Totally. Thank you. Thank you. So, higher self, my version, is just who you are without fear. And that could be inspiration. That could be a picture. It could be a desire. It could be an actual mental picture of who you want to be, like very physical, if that makes sense. But higher self is it's your own wisdom that you're pulling from the ethereal. And ultimately, we're always connected to our higher self. The only difference is our minds, which is a beautiful thing, can reflect patterns or egoic limitations that take away from our higher self. So if you were, I don't want to say take away, it does add something, which is what we're going to go into, but if you had something new come through, or even just feeling yourself presence, that's always your higher self. Does that make sense? It could be called the witness, your soul. There's lots of words for it. Thank you.
It's all colors. So, vivid, vibrant, purple, exciting, these shapes. And then at the end, I saw this shooting, beautiful, like a turquoise.
Do those colors mean anything to you?
Yeah.
And that's what I find is your higher self speaks to you in your language. Whatever that is. Whether it's music or a person, it's your own language. And the more you're willing to tap in, the more you'll be in relationship with that part of you that doesn't matter if anyone else understands it or not. It's for you, and that's why even if you go Google what those colors mean, what's way more important is what does it mean to you? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And it's really cool. And I'm sure everyone had a different vision, which was so powerful about this, is that is your channeling, that's your ability to not only create everything you want, but also to tap into your own inner genius, your own God, your own goddess, whatever you want to call it. We all have this power, and I really believe that, I mean, with how everything's changing, we are required, especially with fake news or things like that, if we don't learn how to not only have discernment between our old stories versus our higher self, but learn how to bring in our own wisdom, it's the only way of the future of really honoring what we all really are, which is divinity, through individuals, which is what's so beautiful about it. Everyone's higher self is different.
What is like in that meditation? I found myself doing a lot of thinking, but I mean they're like related to each other, but I feel like it's almost impossible, but that's like my mind having that really beauty. How do you like I mean I feel like I was not already about it, but it's too much and I want to person.
So that's part of it, is feeling the experience, right? And when we're tapping into our higher self, our truth, our inner power, sometimes we experience colors, sometimes we see visions of things, and it's us talking to us, trying to give us the full picture of what it is we have to do. And so if you're coming into an experience where you're getting downloads or you're experiencing batches of information, and some of them are scenarios or things that you imagine yourself doing, that's your truth. That's you in this eternal moment being shown what it is for you to do. And that's the trick of it, because you're going to come out of that experience, and now you have to deal with your conscious mind. And your conscious mind has, like Katie mentioned, ego, and it's a series of patterns that you've been doing for a long time that are designed to keep you here, safe, and alive. But your soul, your higher self, your truth doesn't have those limits or boundaries. It has the purest intention and desire, and it sees way past the limits of your typical conscious day-to-day life. And so the more time you spend tapping into that power, into that space, the easier it is to jump over the hurdles of your mind's limitations and to start to live a soulful, joyous life that's powered by the higher self. And we're going to get more into that, but being able to take that feeling and then the ability to decide and then act on those things is the relationship of everything, essentially.
And so what did you feel? Under all the to-dos, or the things you were experiencing in your higher self, what was the underlying emotion? And that's where the ego, or the conscious mind, says, in this time and space, that's too much. So, like we were talking about getting over the boundaries, which we will speak more on, reveling in the fulfillment. Because what you're really doing with the higher self is a state of flow. And if you've learned anything with the state of flow, it's definitely worth going into. When you're truly aware, and from a tantric perspective, this was a tantric meditation. So it's any time that you put your awareness fully into something and make love to it, in a sense. And when you're making love with anything, it's the powers of creation happening through you. And so the mind's like, that's too much, I don't know how to do all that. Because what it doesn't know, but what it will start to know through embodiment, is your higher self is working with the laws of the universe, where you really can sit back if that's your thing, right? Or you can go with growth if that's your thing. But the laws are taking care of it, and everything will happen in perfect timing, which is part of that trust. And you'll know what to do by what excites you, but ultimately it can all be done because you're working with a higher creative energy, ultimately. The state of flow allows people to do amazing things, and that's what tapping into your higher self really is.
Exactly. Yeah, it's taking that feeling, that instruction, and spending as much time in that place as possible so you get familiar with it. So when you come out of that experience, you can then take that
What emotion?
Just like you're crying.
So is it, emotions, emotion, interrupt emotion when it matters.
Cry through that, like if you start tearing up and you feel, I felt like I was letting go of something.
Yes.
I don't know what it was, I was letting go, but I just knew that it felt like a feeling of letting go.
And you don't have to know unless it's important. And then it will come up to you consciously. You can actually ask yourself, your higher self, show me what it is I'm letting go of if that's important. But ultimately, your emotions are your compass. So in terms of what do I do next? So if you have this higher self vision of everything you want, and maybe you are overwhelmed, right? But that's the emotional compass that comes in, or sadness. What's actually happening is your emotions, your subconscious in a sense, the female part of you, which is what we're going to talk a lot about with the tantric part, but the female part of you is responding to your male conscious mind. We're using those loosely, it just paints a better picture of almost, you imagine your subconscious as your female, as Shakti, and the male, the conscious mind, the thoughts you're thinking in this relationship that's out of sync or in sync, depending on where you are. If you're feeling sadness, your emotions are responding to a thought you're having that are either in alignment with your higher self or not. When we feel really good, when we're in flow, we're feeling blissed and whole, that means we're thinking thoughts, or we're thoughtless, and just feeling along with our higher self. Right? So we're thinking the things our higher self is thinking. We're in tune with that. Our emotions are like natural, because this is very much a tantric perspective, and something I really believe in is underneath everything we think we really are pure, whole, and true, and blissed out. Our natural state is actually one of joy. And to whatever degree you've ever felt joy or not, don't worry, the joy is within you at all times. And I say this as someone that used to scoff at joy. I couldn't handle it because my life was hard, right? I had all that stuff. And it almost felt like a cheat code. Because we're joy, we're bliss, we're love. We actually are this erotic, beautiful, orgasmic state at all times. Because we're creation, and we're here to create more. We're just pure love, whatever love is to you. But with what we've gone through in our lives, the wounds, we're sensitive, right? So we're tapping into the collective consciousness. We're constantly, basically, responding or reacting to what's going on. And our emotions are actually just trying to tell us if we're in alignment with our higher self or not. But it's really hard to not get attached and actually think, I'm sad, something's wrong with me. But all the emotions trying to tell you is the thought you're thinking, I'm sad, something's wrong with me, is not in alignment with your higher self. You just have to change it. Transmutation, which we'll talk about. But the sadness, if you just allow it to flow and you're letting go, that's exactly what it's meant to do. Because emotions are energy in motion. It's just moving things through you. Does that make sense?
I felt that.
And even if you feel it, yeah, when you're in your higher self, you can just feel whatever. You can actually feel despair. You can actually feel anger. You can feel any emotion because you're witnessing it. You're allowing it to flow. It's just like in life, in sex, in being. If we repress anything, it has to express eventually. But when we learn to skillfully just be with everything and every emotion, it actually becomes a blissful experience. Like if you've ever been angry, but you're empowered at the same time, it's such a good experience. Or if you cried after not crying for a really long time, it is the best feeling, right? Even despair. When you're no longer stuck in the story of it, but I spent a year grieving my mom, and learning to love grief, the ugliest process I think there is, was one of the most profound things I've ever been through. And truly only our higher self can teach us how to go in with passion, which is tantra, but detached. So you still feel it all, but you're not connected to the thoughts of it, the stories of it. You can see them, but you change them to what actually suits your higher self, so they're your own thoughts. Does that resonate?
Yeah.
So what if you have like an experience that almost leads you, like if you're a very passionate person and then you almost go like a series of experiences to that gets you to a point that that almost like makes like almost like
totally.
Okay, do you have this?
Yeah. So you have two things going on, because you have yourself, the sense that you're always here, right? Like when we were children, we were there. We're adults now, and we get older. There's a sense of always being here, and that's the pure consciousness. And that's the masculine element to all of us that's always here. And then you have the female element, which is more like the ocean. It's always moving. So you have something that doesn't ever move, and you have something that's moving all the time. And so sometimes in life, we get stuck in repetition and patterns. We're trying to hold on, and we're trying to be here all the time. And you can't dam the ocean. You can't put a blockade up, and you can't stop those waves. And so sometimes when you go through an experience like that, where you're feeling this sense of combustion, like this explosion, this rush, maybe you were trying to pump the brakes on the ocean for too long. And then there has to be this release. Because we have to experience everything and know that we're here. But if we try and stop the flow for too long, then there's this. And then this kind of feeling of emptiness that comes after, because we've experienced everything that we've been holding back. And then there's that sense of pure consciousness, of pure self in that moment, because you know that you're able to witness that, because you're not suppressing anything anymore.
Did that answer? You said the void, right?
Yeah, it's like almost like a constant need to understand rather than just let it through.
Let's talk about the masculine feminine feeling.
Let's do it.
So, quick intro, and then if any questions, just feel free to go. I really used to do really interactive workshops, because again, like we're all just mirrors of each other, and anything that comes up, just share it, because everyone needs to hear it, and we'll reflect back what we can. So I'm Katie,
And I'm Jonathan.
and we are both in this study. We're both coaches, and actually recently come together just a few months ago and got married, did the whole thing really quickly. And we both were in this practice of working with our higher selves, and I was teaching Tantra, and he was writing in a band in Venice, and it was this experiment that we were both in of, working with law of attraction, working with creating this new world, this new paradigm, going on our own paths and soul's purpose. And something we both found along the way was that this desire, this void to belong to something, whether it's a person or a purpose or something greater, is innate, and it's in everyone. And ultimately, the journey of true love, if you will, in yourself and in the world, is what's needed more than ever. Because it's only through love and intimate relationship with ourselves and very much with another person do we have to break down everything that kept us separate. Every belief, thought, or paradigm we took on from the outside world that told us that we're not perfect, whole, blissed out, but even more so, that we have to do it alone, or that we aren't one with every single person, and to say even further, the judgments of good and bad. Because love, and if you were able to feel the unconditional part, like unconditional love is no judgment, for real. And why I love Tantra is there is no right or wrong. There just isn't. It's impact, right? Cause and effect. We need the dark and the light. So to damn one is to damn the other. And something I know that we have been working with together, and would love to give you more an experience of and answer any questions of, is the light and the dark within ourselves, in our masculine and our feminine, right? Our inner harmony, and dissolving what keeps us blocked, so then we can have it without, so we can have true love without, and whatever speaks to you, right? In partnership, purpose, all those things. So that's really our goal for today, but ultimately, whatever you experience in that initial meditation already gave you everything you need, and now it's just kind of tools to help you bring it to life.
So all of us are here in this unified experience. And whatever we experienced during that meditation, I had insights and feelings myself. And they're a result of me, but they're also a result of you guys. Because we're all here together in this room. We're all in this shared pool of energy. And right now we're only limited to this room, but we're all part of the same conscious universe that includes this world and everything else in it. And everything is in relationship to everything else. And so, a lot of people talk about manifesting and law of attraction and all of those things, but really that's just a simplified version of the fact that you are connected to everything that exists. Anything you think, feel, touch, or see is available to everyone else. We're all connected and we all live in relationship to that. And within inside us we have this duality of a male and a female energy, a dark and a light, happy, sad, all of those things. And what that does is it teaches us about ourselves. I have her so I can learn about myself and vice versa. But I'm also, by learning about myself, I'm learning about her. And when you unify yourself with feeling and your infinite, eternal, higher self in your conscious mind, you now have this sense of reverb, like resonance. And so when someone says something that's true, and you're like, oh yeah, I feel that, that's resonance. That's two things vibrating on the same frequency together. And when you can do that, you can see the play between those two aspects in yourself, in another person, in the energies of a room. That's how we learn and that's how we grow. And as we play through that relationship, that's how we can really start to access the creative powers in the universe.
So let's talk about creation and tantra and sex and balancing out masculine and feminine, because they're all related. So creation, right? So I'm sure you all are well versed in law of attraction to some degree, or creating your reality, being mindful of your thoughts and feelings. But what I'd like to really elaborate on is if we're all creating our little universes, because we're all creating our little universes, we are all in this interplay of sex, technically, all the time. Because what is creation, right? It's sex. It's the merging, it's the union of two forms, that we're going to use masculine and feminine for that. Two energies that through this union, combustion, through all these different things, are creating something more. And this is where truly meditation is the art of making love. It's the art of presence. It's the art of putting yourself, your awareness, into anything that you really want. So when you connect with your higher self, you are making love. You are putting your awareness into a higher frequency of who you are, bringing it into your conscious mind, so subconscious to conscious, bringing it together, and that will be birthed out into your world. So if you take a moment right now and just look around and notice, and this is really good to do in your own bedroom especially, how every thought you've ever had created what's around you. Even your perceptions of each other, how people speak to you, how they talk to you. Anything you're gonna do really well at, you think about that. Anything that you think you're gonna do really poorly at, it's like it's all a thought which creates. And what emphasizes that creation is feeling, right? So your thoughts create, but it's so specific where I really, after you leave today, just intend to get a free coffee or just think thoughts about someone's gonna say hi to me. Start to prove to yourself that every single thought is being created. And that's actually starting to build your masculine side. So I'm gonna let Jonathan talk about the masculine, but with your thoughts, even as I'm talking right now, watch your thoughts that are happening and watch how they change your perception of everything that's going on, because that's creating a new reality, right? Every judgment, every observation about yourself, about others, it puts an energy out there and it has to be mirrored back to you. Right? Does that, any questions on that so far?
What if you have like a moment or like maybe
that's, well, you're experiencing your intuition. It's like your higher self is like tapping on your shoulder and saying, hey, you, listen. And that's how it works. Is we have this really great conscious mind that's doing things. And there's some people that, you know, I didn't really believe in my intuition at one point in time in my life, and it made my life really hard and really, really miserable because everything took a lot of work and effort. It's like, and people talk about luck and all those things, but really what that is it's when you're tapping into the divine and you're being led through things seemingly by instinct or other things like that. And when you're experiencing, you know, your subconscious and your conscious mind at the same time, that's like resonance. Like if you're throwing a racquetball against the wall and catching it, imagine like a thought coming from one side to the other, bouncing back. And so you get to experience both at the same time. So that's like witness consciousness, the ability to be there at the same time. Yeah.
What is it like? It like almost brings forth like a fearful, like it's almost like it's constantly happening, but it's
Yep.
just like you're like second guessing. I guess like your fear and that it like brings on because you don't trust your intuition.
So the relationship part of this is just like between male and females, and this is, we're just using these words as examples, but everyone has masculine and feminine energies. And the feminine, which I'll talk about, is more the void, more of, we'll talk about Shakti. Well, he's going to talk about the masculine, what that does. And basically when we're almost being attacked, if you will, fears are coming up, right? Our feminine sides are so able to pick up whether it's our own feelings or the ones around us, especially if you grew up needing to almost know what other people are feeling, if you have that empathic ability, whether it's from trauma or just being what we are, right? We're able to tap into other people and feel what they're feeling. And then the conscious mind goes, no, that's not right. And that's probably from mom or dad or school or something that said, like, you can't feel that way. So we experience a lot of what we experience in relationships where we don't trust the other sex, right? Or our masculine side doesn't trust our feminine side, right? Our feminine side has this intuition, and our masculine thoughts are like, no, that's not right. Like, don't listen to that. Like, you don't want to be wrong, right? Or like, you're making it up, you're being dramatic. And you'll actually see this mirrored in relationships everywhere. It's amazing. Because it's really just like the masculine and feminine, whether they're in a loving relationship or they're against each other, is what we're experiencing inside. So your feminine intuition, which we all have, your higher self, the party that can perceive, that can feel other people, she can only be celebrated as much as our masculine side, our thoughts, which he's going to talk about, supports it and believes it. Because you can be the most intuitive person on earth, but if your thoughts don't support it, you're going to be crazy. Do you know what I mean? Have you ever met someone that's really genius, really intuitive, but they just don't trust themselves? Right? And you can see it, it's uncomfortable even. And all that is, it's a reflection of their own masculine. They're refusing, because they probably didn't have a role model. They probably didn't have a masculine that showed the traits he's going to talk about that allow us to feel empowered. And it's actually what our feminine sides needs. So do you want to talk about what the masculine, what the traits of the divine masculine really is? And this is where you can bring this into your own thoughts, because it all starts within, and then you'll feel it without.
So, easiest way to do this, and anyone can answer, you guys can kind of just yell it out loud. What are things we associate with masculinity? Ego? Anything else? Strength? Aggression? Protection? Logic? Stability? Anything else? Rigid? Any more? Controlling, okay. Temperamental, okay. What was that? Okay. So all those are pretty good examples of the spectrum that is the male energy. What we want to talk about though is the positive aspects of it, because both masculine and feminine energies have negative and positive aspects to them, and the management of those traits inside ourselves will lead to more success in our lives in every single way, especially when it comes to with our partner. So the positive traits of masculinity are stability, that kind of surety that you just know the sun is going to come up tomorrow. And when that type of quality is applied in your life, it creates a very firm and stable platform to which you can accomplish anything. You look at men in sports and business and any other in fatherhood and all of the, any examples you can think of in your mind of where, like Superman, or we have these archetypes where they are steady and stable and they're always there. Superheroes are always there to save the day. And that is probably that fixed nature of always being available is probably the most important aspect of masculine energy. The second part is the penetration. And that's sexual, but it's also the way a man exerts, or a woman exerts, or anyone exerts themselves into the world. And so if you think about everything around you, everything that's flow and free, all this change, if you think about all of that as feminine, and the fact that you're here, that pure consciousness, that part of you that knows you're always here, that part of you that's witnessing everything, that's really part of your male mind. And everything you do outwardly into this world is an expression of that. And everything you don't do. So everything you accept to happen to you and everything you put out there is all part of your penetrating power. And so with the masculine energy, we can be really irresponsible with what we accept and what we project out into the world. And so a lot of the negative things that we associate with masculine energy come from just not being responsible of our thoughts and what we project out into the world and what we receive. And so if we can identify with that safety and that stability and that fixed nature, and we can say, I want to use this power that I have to put things out into the world to only bring good things, then everyone around you will think, wow, I feel safe with this person. I can talk to this person. I feel like I can climb a mountain with this person. I can do anything. And then the attribute of encouragement, which nobody mentioned, comes up naturally. Because does anyone have like a coach or like a father figure or someone that you really look up to that makes you feel like you can do anything? Does anybody have one of those? Who is that person to you? Your dad. So do you want to tell us a little bit about your dad, like why he makes you feel that way?
Well, I'm the baby of like 7, so my dad I felt like I was his favorite, and he just like I could do it wrong.
And see, that's the thing. That's ultimately what the feminine wants, is to know she can't do any wrong. Because and it's funny, but like she's the ocean. She wants to know that she can move and feel and flow. And we were just talking about this on the plane the other day. But in tantric mythology and philosophy, there are all these images of Shiva lying down on the ground, dead, eyes open, looking up at Kali or Shakti with an erection. And he's ready to go, he's dead. And she's just dancing, doing her thing. And it's that stability, even in death. It's that constant, consistent nature of the male consciousness that provides encouragement and stability that needs to be cultivated.
For the feminine that can do no wrong. Because that's where the feminine, in her full expression, your emotions, your intuition, all the different sides are the feminine, right? The wild woman to the one that's the lover, to the one that it's like she is Collier, she can destroy anything and everything, or she can be so tender and loving. The true merging is the masculine can hold it all without reaction, without responding, without calling her, or right, in your own mind, calling your intuition crazy or wrong. Like you can do no wrong. The masculine really is so encouraging and so steady in himself. It supports every emotion you have, which allows you then to be right, this equilibrium inside, and you can trust your intuition. You do know the way to go, and you can be whole within to really help others. nothing's actually repressed is I think the biggest part, is the feminine can be in all her many, many ways, within and without, because the masculine is so steady and bases her out at all times. And that starts with our thoughts. So just take a moment, and if you want to write it down or just contemplate it, what is the masculine to you, right? So what masculine people or forces have you experienced in your life? Were they encouraging? Do you trust them? Do you believe they're reliable? Do you believe that they will love you only sometimes or all the way? Right? Start to really look at how do you act around the masculine in your external life. And that will really show you how do the thoughts within you actually support and encourage the feminine within you, the intuition. Because everyone that you're experiencing outside of you in the masculine is just a representation of your thoughts. It can be no other way. And this is where it gets crazy if you do have an upbringing with your father or brothers or anyone in the masculine where it's less than loving, we'll say. Whether you brought it on or not, the masculine is about accountability and saying, well, no matter what happened when I was little, where I am now, I have the ability to change my thoughts, which will actually, for real, change how not only you see the masculine outside, but even those really, really difficult relationships. It will change them, and it has to, it's law. And so you have to start really looking at the thoughts and the traits that you want to see in the masculine. Start within yourself, and you'll see it without. Does that make sense? And that can be really, really painful, because it can feel so good to blame negative qualities of either or, right? But ultimately, it is our responsibility to change our thoughts and to see the best in all masculine, because I'm sure you've seen in the world the masculine feminine needs a lot of help right now.
So, in the sense that if we see or experience when we're around male or masculine energy, like or unsure, untrusting, always questioning intentions, things like that, are you saying that that's really our own masculine energy feeling unstable, not really being providing us stability within our own higher power, and that's what we need to channel and hone in on?
Yeah. So, as within, so without. So, as you walk around, I had a friend who we were driving to Florida, and I won't get too deep into this guy, but I grew up with him in high school, and we've grown apart as time's gone on, but he hit the brakes, and this knife, big old knife, rolled out from underneath the seat, and I picked it up, and I'm like, dude, why do you have this? He's like, you never know if you're going to need something. And I was like, dude, I never get in fights, and I never carry weapons, and I've never felt like I needed to, and everywhere I go, I'm greeted with respect, and I make friends everywhere I go. And between the two of us, he'd get in fights, people would aggressively cut him off on the road, things like that always happened with this friend. Because his state of consciousness in his mind, his masculine was aggressive, and it was expecting aggression all the time. But I was always coming from a place of friendship and camaraderie. Now, I'm not saying I don't have my faults. There are different aspects of the masculine, like I can be competitive, and I can be controlling at times, but those are my things, you know what I mean? He didn't necessarily have the same level of competitiveness that I did, right? So we all play on different spectrums. But you have to look at, if you're experiencing something in a relationship that you don't deal with inside, you're going to experience it elsewhere. And so in our relationship, I had to create my own feminine for myself because I was single for a long time before I met Katie. And so I had to lick my own wounds. You know what I mean? I had to take care of myself. I had to feel good. I had to use my own intuition. I had to have my own relationship with the feminine and that, right? And then after dating Katie and marrying Katie, I realized like my feminine doesn't need to compete with hers anymore. I have this in a person. And so I've had to let go of my need to do these things, right? And cultivate that inner
taking into account, going back to the meditation, the one thing that you're feeling is missing in your life. The first step is look at the void, right? Look at the thoughts you have around this thing and bring it into your life. Is it encouraging? Are your thoughts encouraging you to bring it in? Do your thoughts believe you can bring it in, right? You have to align all your masculine thoughts, right, or conscious thoughts with this desire. And then we have to merge it with the feminine, which I'll talk about next. And then to bring everything together, we won't be much longer. We'll go into an experience where you can feel all of it, but just like meditation, Tantra, it's an ongoing process of merging and love. And learning to enjoy the process like it is falling in love becomes so important. Because, at least for myself, I know at one point, and still sometimes, right? Relationships are hard. Relationships with all things, with ourselves, with others. But again, they are, I believe, the greatest vehicle for enlightenment, for coming into wholeness, coming into one. And so think for a moment of just, again, what are those thoughts you have around bringing this desire to fruition? Are you encouraging yourself? Do you believe in yourself? Are you watching your thoughts? What are your thoughts around, this desire you even have? Do you judge this desire? Do you judge your emotions around it? Do you think you have to work for it? Do you have to struggle? Do you have to prove yourself? Right? Part of that masculine too is knowing you're enough, having that steady confidence, right? And really allowing yourself to feel that. I know a big one too is willpower. Willpower is all about keeping your thoughts above. The fears will come up, and that's a good thing. When the fears come up, it's because they're ready to be transmuted. They only come up because it's like, hey, you have to change me. You're going to a higher frequency, and so it's like all the lower frequencies rise to the top, so you can just change them. And it's through the will, through our masculine, that we can decide this is easy. And something I recommend is to write down all your thoughts around it and then ask your higher self, what are my real thoughts about this? Any questions on that? Okay. Yeah. No.
So, the masculine would be technically the one that holds boundaries, right?
Yeah.
The feminine tells you where the boundaries are, and the masculine holds them.
Like, think of the analogy that came to me as Katie was talking. What you're going for is like, who likes roller coasters? We just went to Disneyland yesterday. So you're strapped in, and you're allowed to experience violent speeds, crazy jumps, loops, all of these things, but you're strapped in and you're not going anywhere. There's a sense of absolute safety and security. And so what you're going for is a sense of, I can experience everything. I can meet everything with full force, knowing I'm going to be okay. Knowing that no matter what happens, I'm still strapped in, we're good to go. And then you get off the ride and you're fine. And so the boundaries of stability are come from the masculine, and the full force of emotion and feeling and experience are the feminine. And if you can meet those the same way you meet a roller coaster, you know you're not going to die. You know everything's going to be fine. You feel it. When the ride's over, you're still here. So that helps.
So I have a similar question to what was asked earlier in regards to our own masculine and feminine experience. So if I find myself, I guess my feminine aspect to be very emotionally charged, and I have a masculine presence in my life that seems almost intolerable or unable to handle that, is it similar that it is my own masculine energy that isn't able to be present for my feminine emotional charge or
Yes. So, and this is where there's no judgment in this. We're such free, conscious creators that if you are seeing that on the outside, you don't have to take it personally. It's the invitation to, can I be more willing to support my own emotions and feel them? Setting the space to actually feel, which I'll talk about in a moment. And then also rewriting the thought about other people and the men in your life. So rewriting that thought that he never, allows me to feel, or he doesn't believe me, or he's unreliable. Changing your masculine thoughts, right? To, he always leaves space for me. Or he allows me to feel, or he even helps me feel all of this. Because part of knowing your higher self is you're allowed to have your own needs met if you're willing to believe it through your masculine conscious mind. Does that make sense?
Like, the rule of thumb is, you need to empty yourself of the aspect you want to receive. So if you want to receive that comfort, if you want to receive that stability,
Well,
Be open.
that's part two. Because I would say, depending where you are, it's a little tricky, but you have to feel it first. You have to know what it's like. So having the conscious thought of what would it feel like to have a man that always allowed me to feel my emotions, and then feeling that, right? So you actually like believe it's possible, and that's the feminine, right? So you have these masculine thoughts that you're building up, you're encouraging yourself, you're trusting, and then with every thought you think, an emotion comes through, right? And the emotion is telling you, does this align with my higher self or not? And so when you actually feel what it's like to be loved, like you did earlier, you're starting to build that frequency. And then it is about letting go of the expectation so he can fill in. Does that make sense? It's kind of like another topic about when you're doing it with others. We're focusing more on the, I guess, as oneself. But feeling it, trusting it first, but then allowing him to do it in his own way.
So is it like releasing any attachment to the outcome?
Yes.
Yeah, and if you become the love that you expect to feel, that's always going to make a difference. Because if you're thinking and you're creating in your mind an experience where you feel love in the way that you want to feel love, you're inviting him to, or whoever this person is, to give you that. And then if you also project outward that type of emotion or that type of feeling, then they're more likely, they're going to receive it, and it starts to change. So you can change it on so many different ways, but I think just starting inside and balancing out whatever's going on between your ears and in here, then you can start to expect that follow you everywhere else.
So for the sake of time, we're a little over, so I apologize for that. I'm going to bring this to a close by just emphasizing the divine feminine and how you all can bring it together. Right? So your feminine is your intuition. It's your grace, it's your beauty, it's everything that's alive, that's in this life, right? And we talked about the power of the masculine thoughts to support and encourage ourselves, the ones around us. And then we have to feel and listen to our emotions. So I talked about your emotions being your compass. And this is so important. Your thoughts carry a vibration. Your emotions carry an even greater vibration. And when they come into alignment, you can create and birth anything you want. So when you start thinking these positive thoughts or thoughts that really serve you, and you allow yourself then to feel it, and that's why that meditation we did at the beginning is so important, because through imagination, through relaxing, your higher self can come in and allow you to feel things that are actually happening for you in your future, if you will. But the second you allow yourself to feel it now, it becomes your now. The second you start feeling good, fulfilled all the time, it has to become your permanent reality. And the thing with Tantra, if you are perfect, blissed out and whole at your core, and you start dissolving all these negative thoughts, you allow yourself to listen to your feminine, you're merging your masculine and feminine, I really do believe we're all coming into the state of permanent union and bliss. Where truly, your natural state of feeling good is your natural state. So no longer like waking up in this crapshoot of like, how am I gonna feel today, or what's gonna happen? It really, you come undone into who you really are, into this merging, and you have this security of the masculine where every day you are feeling good. You've allowed your intuition to come in, you know your ability to consciously create, and what happens from that place is like that's the new world, if you will, where it's like trying to feel good isn't the thing anymore. It's just like, what can we create together? What does this type of intimacy look like now? And that's the teachings of Tantra, is like embrace everything that's happening right now, because it's all an act of lovemaking. And I'll really kind of end it on this. Your feminine nature, to receive, to express, to be beautiful and graceful, right? And this is everyone. You have to support it with your masculine, with your thoughts, and then you have to trust her and listen to her and allow her to lead, and then allow the masculine to, right, take more action, project out what you want. And you're going to come into this union where you really are in harmony. That's Tantra. We're coming together. We're making love with everything. We're constantly in this state of flow and meditation. And ultimately, the ability to create everything you want, because we're always in the act of creation, comes down to how are you having sex with life. Really, it's like, are you expressing yourself, giving yourself without abandonment? Are you receiving everything you've ever wanted, right? And if you can continue to do that with an open heart both ways, that type of harmony is what I believe we're all seeking for and our birthright. Does that make sense? And you don't have to do it alone. So lastly, we really do need each other. And part of what I really focus on is whatever your skills and talents and gifts are perfect. You have everything you need. And if there's something that you believe you need in life from another, if you are feeling that void, that loneliness, whatever it is, it's because it really is present for you right now. That's why you have desire. Desire will never end, right? Tantra is like it's the expansion, the pulsation. We feel the fear and the loneliness just to know that we can expand out into wholeness. It's a dance that's never going to end. And so whatever void that came up for you earlier, it's present for you right now. And the keys are in that intimacy. So loving your masculine, changing the thoughts, and then feeling the bliss like it's already here. Feeling the love like it's already here. Going open-hearted into everything, because you can create, you have created everything, and you can recreate or expand everything and anything. Any questions on all of that?
We're over.
All right,
Gotta be
we're
done.
over. Thank you guys.